Good evening, and you are with Spotlight. On Spotlight today, we will be discuss a topic that has been a severe distress to many nations and also every citizen of the globe. The coronavirus or the COVID-19 pandemic has been plaguing and limiting humanity's movement for close to 2 years now, and it is high time that we address it because we have been addressing all over. But then again, it does not feel enough, and this is one of the reasons why we thought this topic would be important for all the Sri Lankans out there. A country's ability to minimize the risk and minimize the damage that we receive from this virus depends on the scientific approach that we do and we take towards it. And narrowing this vast topic down to our nation today, let's look at how we as a country is and have been battling against it. Joining with us today is the Deputy Director, Health Services of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hemant Herath, to enlighten us about the current situation in this island. Doctor, welcome to the program. So if I give you a prelude to the program, now when it comes to this discussion about the coronavirus, what is the situation in the country in a snapshot, how it is like in your point of view?
At present, the disease is present all over the island, and we know that earlier there was a time where the disease was just coming only from the people who are coming from overseas, and limited to a small clusters that were detected in certain closed environment like military camps and the rehabilitation centers and similar places.
Yeah.
But gradually in October it went beyond that level, and on average 500 to 600 cases were reported, but did not go beyond 1,000 at that time also. But when we were starting this under control, we know that the pressure coming to do certain type of relaxation in the social activities, and during the January New Year session as well as April New Year sessions, the movement of people were little bit relaxed, and as a result we experienced small outbreak or increase of cases in January, but severe and major outbreak in late April and May. And we, with imposing another lockdown, although we were able to reach a kind of control at that time also, immediately after relaxation there was again unwanted, unexpected happening of unexpected gathering of people happened, and as a result the situation became worse. And luckily up to now at this moment, after imposing the strict travel restrictions at this moment, we are observing a small decline, which is still too early to comment or to conclude, but we have observing a small decline, but the numbers still, at the present numbers that we are experiencing are so too high for a country like Sri Lanka. So it should go down drastically and to a great extent to very much low levels to be happy with the current situation. And also the death rate, again we are experiencing a relatively high death rate, and probably the Delta variant may be the reason, but nevertheless, what we are trying our best is to reduce the death rate also. Today, again the death rate is gradually going down. Today we have experienced a little bit more drastic reduction, but whether it is, we don't know whether it is up and down or usual ups and downs, but at the moment what we can say is situation is becoming good, and but still not to the level which we can happy. That is the current situation.
Doctor, do you think now over the past few days or the weeks when the restrictions were not there, people were everywhere, they just went everywhere shopping and all those things, but then again when it comes to awareness, do you think as a government or as health authorities, should we build more awareness among them? Because I have a feeling that they don't understand how this virus spreads. And what do you think about that?
Yes, I think that is one of the very, root cause of what we are experiencing at this moment. This is not unique to Sri Lanka.
That's right.
It is applicable even to most developed societies as well as in other countries. Some people are coming into the street when there are social restrictions are imposed, and some people believe and express that their freedom is much more than the likelihood of dying of a disease. So these are common things that we have observed, and probably all over the world these are things happening. But I think it is not only the health but all other sectors plus the professionals in different fields need to provide their contribution to educate the people rather than criticizing the current status, because we are working not only health, but we know even at this moment the health is working at their best, but there are certain other stakeholders are also doing. But sometimes we also feel that there are so many other sectors, I do not want to point finger at them, but they also could have played a very pivotal role in educating people. Especially the people should empowered, and we have to it is extremely difficult for the health sector, because we are now struggling with the disease, and when we try to empower the people, that cannot be interpreted as trying to put the blame into the public. But that is not the case. However, that is why we want all other community leaders and political leaders and others to play their role to empower the people, for which we need to educate them, enlighten them, and they need to understand what their role, and that if that can be done, I think most of the things can be done without any major problem. On the other hand, if you don't do that, once these relaxations are lifted, then we will be back to square one, and we'll have to start from the beginning.
As well, and so with lack of facilities at the same time.
True
what you said about other countries. I mean, it's not just Sri Lanka that is, it's not just the Sri Lankans that are stressed and are going out even during restrictions. I saw on news as well on countries like in the UK, there are certain problems arose because of this situation, and they try to go out just like some of us are actually trying to do that. And if we speak about the vaccination process, Doctor, now there's a misconception, or there's an idea going on among the people in the society that Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are better than AstraZeneca or the Sputnik or the Sinopharm. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, again, this has been, I mean, I have been telling this over and again in my communications all the time. Firstly, these vaccines have been developed by countries which are with some kind of advanced technology. And the basis of preparing this vaccine is accepted by almost all experts and relevant authorities as correct techniques of preparing vaccines. And the WHO is the apex organization at international level that regulate and harmonize these vaccine production and recommendation of vaccines and other things. And that the WHO also has not that they have all approved any of these vaccines. All these vaccines are at the moment approved for emergency use. And we also don't know many things about most vaccines, because still all the people are experimenting on vaccines. However, when the vaccines comes to, when it comes to the vaccination, especially in Sri Lanka, there are several bodies which is which has the mandate to recommend to the government related to this vaccination. That is, one is the NMRA, that is National Medicinal Drugs Authority, Regulatory Authority, and the other one is the National Advisory Committee on Communicable Diseases under the vaccination policy of Sri Lanka, immunization policy of Sri Lanka. All these expert bodies have gone through the literature and other data related to all these vaccines, and independently they have concluded and recommended that these vaccines that are given in this country are equally effective and equally safe.
Right. Okay.
So, when it comes to the marketing, different types of notions are circulating, and it is extremely difficult to stop that also. And also, we know that certain vaccines are stored under very strict conditions. Very high low temperatures, which is practically impossible in even many countries, even though Sri Lanka is capable of doing that. And some are we can handle as a normal vaccine. So sometimes people might think that these are superior vaccines, that is why that needs, but that everything depends on the technology in which these vaccines are prepared, and the nature of the vaccine, which need to be kept at different conditions. That nothing other than that. However, we have to admit the fact that certain countries are still insisting on certain products for the people to enter into these countries, which is very unfair, and I would openly say that, and we are making our representation to the WHO also to make sure that if the vaccine is accepted by the WHO, the people who get these vaccines need to be allowed to enter those countries. But however, this is not happening. So that is totally beyond our control. And as a result, we also have no other option other than to give those specific vaccines to people really want to go to those countries. Really, in the sense, no, everybody, if somebody is going abroad, that means they really want it. They don't want to. But the issue is there are people who are going for education, employment, and similar people need to be given priority. And there are certain other people, probably including myself, who might go into other countries, those countries one day or the other. So therefore, they also expect to get such vaccines.
Right. So, doctor, now in that case, like, can someone who might go to a different country?
Yeah, that is it. I want to conclude it by telling that if someone really wants to go to, especially for education and employment, they can write to the health ministry, and we can arrange that specific vaccination through different means, maybe through army, maybe through other means, to get that vaccination. But at the moment, we do not have specific method or system developed to those who are going for other purposes, like to see the relatives or similar things, because the vaccine stocks are coming in small quantities, and there are a large number of people who need to be vaccinated, and as a result, at this moment, we are not in a position to accommodate all these requests, because everyone, including probably yourself, myself, are also expecting to go to those but unfortunately, we have no option other than to get the available vaccine, which we have taken. So we also did the same thing, although we are distributing vaccines. So therefore, we'll have to wait a while until we get because this is the only reason why we have to consider that different vaccines in a different manner. But otherwise, all vaccines are equally effective and equally safe.
All the same. And so those who got the Covishield vaccine now is brought down from India in the first stage, and then secondly from Japan. Now, is it the AstraZeneca vaccine, or is it a variant of that?
No, the technology is the method that they have used, or the vaccine developer was the Oxford AstraZeneca, that entity that the one who developed the vaccine. And the production license or permission for production has been given to different organized entities in different parts of the world. And we were purchasing, and first donation also given by India, and that was produced in India, where the product was labeled as Covishield vaccine.
Right.
the
Okay.
brand name. That
So
is
there's-
the difference.
Okay, only the name is different, but the technology and everything is
Technology
the same,
yeah.
right? So when you get the certificate, it comes as AstraZeneca,
Seneca,
right?
yeah.
Okay, that clears everything. And so when it comes to Pfizer, now you mentioned about there are reasons why Pfizer is given to certain people, but now this question, there's a sort of a dispute in the society about targeting a certain district only to give the vaccine to give the Pfizer vaccine. Is there a scientific reason behind it, or is there any other reason behind it?
Unfortunately, I mean, I am telling this as an independent or as a professional, because not only as a government servant. When a district is selected, sometimes there are coincidental and additional different dimensions related to the process are appearing. Sometimes they are coincident, maybe sometimes there can be intentional, that I have to tell.
Yeah.
But when the vaccines, the most important factor that we need to take into consideration is, when it comes to the Pfizer vaccine, it is coming in small quantities. Compared to other, especially the Sinopharm, where 2-3 million doses are coming at a time. This is coming in 75,000, 100,000. I think maximum stock that we have is just above 100,000.
Okay.
And when these vaccines are distributed, we will have to take several other factors. That is, the target population is the most important, and we'll have to make sure that if you are getting 100,000 doses, we'll have to identify a target population of 50,000, because you have to give it second dose also.
Second dose, exactly.
Otherwise, the AstraZeneca issue will come. So, initially, when we got the first dose, at that time, it was given to Colombo municipality area, but it was given as the second dose of AstraZeneca.
That's right. Yes.
But later, when we realized that we are getting the AstraZeneca, immediately we stopped it, and nowhere else we took it to Mana.
Right.
Basically, one reason was the fisheries population high risk, but the total number of target population was the most important factor that we considered, because the fisheries, high risk fishery was there even in Jaffna.
That's right.
But we couldn't do it because the numbers or the stocks were so small, we couldn't take that. So that is why we started at Jaffna. And then the next stocks, when it came, we went to Kutlam. Because again the population was relatively low. And the target population was fitting into the available vaccines. Then the next stock went to the Hambantota districts, and I will frankly tell, the other political dimensions appeared. And I mean, the political pressure to give vaccines in different parts were always there.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I know that when we were distributing the vaccines, different districts, the politicians, even though I was not involved in this process, because of my presence in the media and other things, they called me and, "Doctor, why don't you give the vaccine to our district? Still we have not got it." And that type of things were there. However, this is the political thing that, I mean, I don't want to go into details, but we have to keep in our mind, there are so many political higher authorities and the government administrative higher authorities who gives instructions. And these things are not the only factor that we consider. So therefore, people need to be keep in their mind that we are trying our best to give it to the most suitable person. But when coinciding or any other type of other dimensions are coming, I think we should not carried away with that kind of thing and telling that because of the political reasons that if in that case it would have the first set of vaccines should have gone to those districts.
That's right.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Exactly.
So that is why I am telling, I don't totally deny any of these political influences that can be cited, because it was everywhere. But finally, when it comes to the decision making, other factors also need to be considered.
Okay, right. So I think that answers that question.
Yeah.
Now, also, Doctor, now there are people with immunity disorders. There are people with HIV virus in their bodies that are already not good with their immunity, and they already have a failing immunity system. So, what kind of a process is there in place to treat them? Can they get some sort of a prominence?
Definitely, because I mean, even at this moment, if someone is having any kind of specific requirement to get a vaccine, especially not necessarily a targeted vaccines product, but to get the COVID-19 preventing vaccine, what they need to do is to contact the medical officer of health of that area and inform them, and if they, after doing certain kind of assessment, maybe over the phone, they might tell, okay, you come to our center and get the vaccination. Or if they feel that, oh, no, you need to go to a hospital or some other place, they will inform to which place that they should go, and we can get the vaccine from those places if they need, or if they feel that they need to be done in a place where emergency facilities are present.
Right. Okay. Then there's also this new threat called the mu virus, and it's already in Europe and it's already in South America. Will we be will we be receiving a risk out of that?
Definitely. As a public health person, I would say that the risk is always there.
Always there.
However, what is uncertain is when are we going to get this variant? Because we know that the one variant was originated in somewhere in UK, I believe, and it took some time to come to Sri Lanka.
Yes.
And then the Delta variant was, if I can remember, I think it was originated in India. And even, I mean, very closer to the country which is next to the Sri Lanka.
Exactly.
But still, it took almost 4-5 months for it to come to Sri Lanka.
Right.
On the other hand, South African variant, which started earlier, almost hardly came into Sri Lanka. But this one, probably the route is either through Europe or Middle East. If this the movement of people is the main factor that comes into the comes to play in spreading the disease into different countries. So now if it is the South American origin, first thing that the people either should come from South America to either to Europe or Middle East, to which Sri Lankans are going. And through that is the most likely route that it will come. So probably, I mean, we cannot exactly say how long it will take, but we know that it will take little time to establish the variant in those countries first. Then only probably it will come, because there is we have hardly any movement of people from South America directly into Sri Lanka.
Okay, right. So, Doctor, now since we have reached the end of the discussion, let's ask about the death rate. How can the society also contribute to lessen the death rate, and also by giving some advice to the public as well?
Now, the most important factor is to prevent the death is the vaccination. One of the I would say that I will withdraw my word first of all. The most important thing is preventing the disease.
Exactly.
So, so what is important is to prevent the disease by adhering to the health guidelines, and especially not to bring the disease to your home where your high risk loved ones are there. Then the next step is the vaccination, and if we can do it, definitely we can prevent the deaths, and that is what we have seen. And at the moment, still we have seen only a very small proportion of deaths we are observing among the vaccinated people. But mind you, this proportion will going to be increasing in the future. That is because, assuming that 100% of the people who are in this country are vaccinated, one day when the people are dying of COVID, 100% will be vaccinated, because the vaccination, when the vaccination coverage increases, the proportion of those who are dying after vaccination will be increasing. That we have to accept. Not that it is not preventing vaccine, because there are people who are anyway going to die for different reasons. But there will be large proportion of people who will be saved and prevented from dying because of the vaccination. So therefore, vaccination and firstly the prevention of the disease, and then the vaccination will definitely help you all to get out of this unwanted situation, for which everybody's support is needed. And we have seen even at this moment a considerable number of people who have not got the vaccine among this vulnerable population. So I would like to request them to get the vaccination as early as possible.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Doctor. I think on today's discussion, on today's spotlight, we give a good message to the public and got them to be aware of and how to prevent themselves, and also what in store in the future when it comes to this disease. So on that note, we say thank you to Dr. Hemanta Herath, who is the Deputy Director Health Services of the Ministry of Health, for joining with us today and for bringing this spotlight to today's spotlight program. See you again in the next episode with another timely and also a very appropriate, interesting topic. See you in the next episode. Good night.